This is E&P Reports, a service of Editor and Publisher magazine. Since 1884, the authoritative voice of news publishing. And brought to you this week by Viafora. Viafora partners with over 600 media brands to engage, convert, and monetize their digital audiences. Using best-in-class engagement and content moderation solutions, Viafora helps companies create active, civil, and loyal online communities, all while driving higher registrations and subscriptions. Viafora. Learn more at viafora.com. That's Viafoura.com. And hi once again, Mike Blinder, publisher of E&P Magazine. And I know I've presented a few interviews for you, a couple. Actually, it was like 3 or 4 of employees and communities saving papers that were about to go under or about to be sold. And I got another one for you. I hope you don't mind, but I love when I talk about this. I love when we find the love for local journalism being supported by a community. So I'm going to take you now to St. Louis, actually just outside of St. Louis, to Webster-Kirkwood area, and it's the Webster-Kirkwood Times. And earlier this year, when COVID was flourishing, ownership came to the team and said, we're for sale and we're not sure we're going to find a buyer. And they stopped publishing. And 3 of the employees got together, found the financing, bought the publication, and today it is flourishing. 24 gorgeous color pages, 38,000 printed and distributed, 70 to 80% advertising, and the advertisers love it, and it's doing great. This is a fun story, and the people that I'm interviewing have more energy and more excitement and more passion than maybe the last few interviews I've put together. So I hope you stick around for the next 40 minutes as I take you now to Webster-Kirkwood, Illinois, where we're going to speak to Randy Drilingas, the publisher, and Jaime Mowers, the editor-in-chief of the Webster-Kirkwood Times. Jaime, Randy, welcome to E&P Reports. It's an honor and it's a sincere pleasure to have you with us today. Thank you for your valuable time. We find you guys in an office, not in a living room. Is that correct now? You're not?
It is correct.
I don't get to see any paintings behind you, what your kitchen looks like, what the pillows on your bed. You guys are actually working. All right, so welcome to St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I am. By the way, I love your town for various reasons. The main reason is that you're a real baseball town. I mean, I'm a baseball guy. I was born in Philly. I'm still a Phillies fan. Moved to Tampa Bay years ago because I love the airport and I love the Phils. And this is where they do their spring training. You can't get me on the road during spring training. You guys are the Cactus League, right? Your team goes out west, right? They don't come to.
We're in Florida.
Oh, you're down here.
Yes.
We're in Florida. Yeah, Jupiter,
way far away. We don't go there.
That's a different Florida.
We have the Yankees. We have the Phillies. You know, we got some stupid team from Canada. No one. I'm kidding. No, it's nice to have you guys on board. You are the Webster-Kirkwood Times, 2 of the 3 owners, and this is a great story. And when I heard about it, I just had to have you on E&P Reports because I'm finding more and more. How should I say this? Papers that are being bought by the stakeholders, locally owned by the guys in the shop. So this is a pretty recent story. Am I right? This goes back to like September when you guys took over. There's 3 of you. We don't have Kent today. There's 3 of you that now physically own the paper. Why don't you tell us the story? Start off with Dwight, the previous owner, how it all came down, when you found out your paper was for sale, and how it all took place. Go ahead, guys.
Okay. Well, actually, it was before we actually shut down in March when he announced that we were going to be doing our last issue, at the end of March. When that happened, I actually went into him and talked about there being some kind of hope on the other side of all of this to maybe get people back on board to news and that there's an opportunity there.
Now, how Dwight was the owner he was the founder of this weekly paper, correct?
Correct.
And Webster-Kirkwood Times is part of the St. Louis DMA. How would you describe where you are located and what this Webster-Kirkwood area looks like?
We're in the Webster Groves area on that map. I'm going to say probably around the 3 or the 1 there.
Okay.
63119. And that's it. It started here. He eventually purchased the South County Times, which is the green area down below.
And for those of you that are on podcast, you have no idea what he's talking about, but we got a video.
That's right.
I'm putting up a map just to show that it's part of St. Louis area. You're in the city of St. Louis, but these are neighborhoods, correct?
We're actually in the county of St.
The county.
Louis.
Okay.
We're outside of the city limits there.
All right. And you are currently the publisher. And
Correct.
On this call with me is Jaime. Jaime, you're the editor-in-chief, right?
Yes.
Good. And Webster-Kirkwood, then, are these affluent suburbs of St. Louis? I mean, on the southwest side, are they bedroom communities? What are you?
I think it's a mix.
Yeah. Yes.
Go ahead.
There's good, I don't say good and bad areas, but there's higher income areas and lower income areas. Each Kirkwood, all the areas have those within their municipalities. They have certain areas that are, more, I don't know best way to say it, just higher income or bedroom communities, like you would call it. And it's just a mix.
And Dwight decided back in '78 to start this weekly newspaper to super serve this area, right?
He did. There was actually 5 original owners in the very beginning.
Okay.
Yes.
And Randy, how long have you been associated with the newspaper?
20 years, since 1999, actually coming up on 21 years.
And how about you, Jaime? How long have you been?
I have been with the Times since 2011. So I'm actually coming up on my 10th year. I'm actually in my 17th year as a reporter. So I've been in the business a long time, but I've been with the Times family since 2011, and I originally grew up in Webster Groves. So it was always like my dream to come back and work for this paper, my hometown newspaper. And I'm so grateful that I got to do that. And like I said, in 2011, and I could have never dreamed, I'm just like, I'm sure Randy, I could have never dreamed to be now becoming an owner.
So Dwight and his 4 partners owned this and a few other newspapers, grew it. You never became this huge monolithic didn't sell off to any guys in the good old days. He just wanted to keep this hyper local publication. And then here comes you made it through the recession of 2008, right? Both of you were there then.
Right.
You guys survived that one somehow, some way.
Right.
I'm sure
we actually did okay then.
You did.
We were actually doing okay then.
And then here comes COVID, and here comes the whole, change in culture and advertising base and all that and more. And Dwight came to you guys way back in March and said he was selling. Is that correct?
Not quite. He actually said that we were closing down with hopes to come back in a couple months. The plan was in 2 months we were going to come back and we were going to hopefully resume printing. And he was saying we may have less staff, so we might have to spread our jobs around a little more. And so as of our last day when we walked out of here, we did not really know it was up for sale yet. And I know Jaime stayed on and worked through the summer, and she was doing our online version. So she's kind of been working the whole time. She didn't get that luxury of unemployment and being laid off for months.
All right. So Jaime, we kept the website alive through all this then, right? You still were publishing local news in some way, shape, form, or size.
Yes. So here's the thing. Yes, Melissa, our other reporter, Melissa and I were going we were working like crazy on our online, doing everything on our website, on social media. We were covering city council meetings, obviously via Zoom. We were doing all kinds of things, all kinds of coverage. Like I said, we were still keeping up our local school board coverage, our city hall meetings, all this stuff. we were trying to do it all, obviously just the, on a much smaller staff. But the disheartening thing about that was no matter how much we did online, and obviously Randy and Kent and I, this was just such a huge driver in our decision, like, yes, we really want to do this, and we just want to do this. We want to bring the print paper back, because here's the thing, no matter how much we were doing online, no matter how much social media, it was like, so, I mean, some people were seeing it, obviously, because we do have an online audience now, and we're doing a lot of social media and trying to get the word out, like, hey, we're not printing, you're not getting your paper on your doorstep every Friday, but we are still here. We are here. We are doing this. So obviously some people were seeing it, but even the people who were seeing it online, by and large, all we heard was, for some purposes, it was like, it didn't matter. It's like, okay, we're online, but we weren't really there. It was like, just,
they missed the print experience.
Yes, half of it was just like poof. It was like going into the Ethernet, and it was like, we might as well not even have been here, doing it, and everybody just kept saying, when are you guys coming back? Please bring the print back.
Now, this is a free newspaper, right? That this wasn't paid.
Yes.
A free paper serving the community since '78. We're now in the year 2020. It's March. You're gone. I mean, as far as you know, Randy, you're out of there. There's two people trying to keep this thing alive online. Yes. My question is, and I know there's a lot of people who are now doing replica versions. Did you try to immediately form the paper without printing it, but in some form of a replica, a flip book version, or you were just throwing the stories on the internet and on social media?
We have that, and we've had that for a few years now. We have the print e-version basically online, where you can go through and flip through the pages.
Did that survive during this downtime? Were you still doing the flip book version?
No.
Okay.
No.
Didn't even bother to put that together. Okay.
No, we were not doing that, as Randy said. But what we were doing is, so prior to the pandemic, we were like, every week we would send out an email blast, like, check out this week's Webster-Kirkwood Times for these stories, kinds of thing. And so Melissa and I we held that version to, even though we were just kind of like a rolling, we were just publishing, as a rolling thing online and social media, we definitely kept the e-blast version going out every Friday, which would be a normal print paper. So you know what I mean? So we tried to hold to like the weekly cycle for people to at least, have that regularity.
But how large was that e-blast? How large is that database? How many people were you pushing that sucker to?
Randy, what would you say?
At the time, it was around 3,500 email subscribers. Now that includes
what is your current circ now? It's still around 3,000 now, right? It's no?
No, it's up now.
Our print circulation is around what, 40,000, Randy?
It's about 38,000.
Oh, excuse me. I apologize.
No,
really?
that's okay.
Yes. Our home papers are like 28,500. And then we have stores like Schnucks and Deerbergs that we deliver to, and then also smaller stores. Local businesses will get 10 papers or so, restaurants, things like that.
So the latest edition, how many pages are in there right now?
24. You're
putting out 24 pages free, 30 some odd thousand printing. That's a lot of expense there, Randy. That's expensive stuff.
I'm learning all about that. Yes, it's true. It's true.
We know. Well, yes.
Oh my God. And that's amazing. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. When I said 3,000 or 4,000, when I quickly skimmed the information, I did not know you were printing that many. And you have people throwing those on lawns, right? Everybody's getting a copy of this thing.
Exactly.
Getting it in all the possible, especially during COVID, it's hard to get it back into the hospitality businesses. But when post-COVID, you'll be back in all the restaurants and all the venues.
Yeah.
Wow, 24 pages. How much is that as advertising, Randy? Right now,
we generally fall in the range of anywhere between 60 to 70%. We're roughly, usually right around 65%.
Good for you.
And we've had, our first issue was a 40-page paper. And then we've had a couple 32-page papers. We also did a special gift and recipe guide that went in around Thanksgiving time. So we've been kind of, luckily in the area we are and with the businesses we have and our great community, we've been able to keep things going, and people are really appreciative of our print version coming back.
Now,
Yes, yes.
And my audience is going to have to excuse me because this is not one of my most, how should I say, in order interviews. I'm going in a lot of different directions.
Okay.
That's how we are.
Yeah, yes.
People on social media know I had a full knee replacement, and some of those drugs in my brain are still keeping me. So we'll get back to the sale in a moment, but I'm fascinated because if any human being walked into your office right now and said print is dead, both of you would slap them silly, figuratively. I mean,
well, once I was done laughing.
You're done laughing because you've got a local community supporting all those pages, 60 to 70% advertising. You're getting it out there. And let me take a wild guess on this, he said sarcastically. They're getting results, right, from their advertising? This thing.
Oh yeah. We have people that we would think wouldn't be coming in, and they're like, no, it's working good. And our classifieds especially, they're still, everybody was so happy to have.
No, classifieds doesn't exist anymore. You can't possibly be selling.
They're gone. They're gone.
Hold them up, Jamie. Get to the classified pages. Hold them up.
I'll tell you, man. I mean, yes. I mean, we have got classified.
Is this jobs, homes, cars, stuff, personals, all that and more? All just locking in there. And you're not an alternative, right? You're a community paper. You're not.
Correct.
When I say alternative, you don't lean very, very far left and all that. I mean, not that I'm against that.
Right.
You're a hyper-local community publication, right?
Yes.
Traditionally, we've kind of been known in the past as being a little liberal on that side. But I don't know if you saw our actual first edition. We were standing in the street.
I saw the picture of you guys in the streets, right? Yeah.
That signifies our stance as well on who we are, because we want to be right in the middle of the road with our news. We don't want to push any sides. We have to take things out of the copy each week almost. We got to remove some of the, rants that people can't seem to not do anymore and make it more of a central focused news source.
Well, unfortunately, it's a very polarized society right now. So
Yes.
you're in a position where, and you're in St. Louis, which I mean, it's middle America in some respects. So you got to have to play both sides of the coin. But hyper-local is hyper-local, right? So you're covering school board, you're covering church suppers, you're covering.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And that is the heart of community news. And actually, when you said, if someone came in and tried to tell us that print was dead, I've actually been doing Don Corrigan, the previous editor-in-chief, who was one of the owners with Dwight for many, many years. Don is a journalism professor at Webster University. And for the past several years, I speak at his classes every semester. And my presentation is titled, Print Isn't Dead. I mean, so despite what the obits might say, we've been proving everybody wrong, and we are more so even now. Because
let me take a wild guess there, Jamie. On your cover is not one AP wire story then, am I right?
You will never find, we have never ever run an AP wire story in our paper, and we don't ever plan to, as far as we're concerned, because that's not who we are. That's not what we do, and everybody else does that. We do the reason that we are thriving and that people love us is because we do all those hyper local things that the bigger newspapers, in town can't, don't have time for, can't get to, whatever, and vice versa. They do investigative reporting that we don't have the manpower for, so we work together. I think in that way it works really well. But yeah, I mean, that's what's so important about why community newspapers in every community, wherever they are so vital, for the fabric of everybody who lives within them, and like I said, we are just so grateful. Randy already said, to our advertisers, to every small business who is within these pages. I mean, they are making this possible for us and the communities that we live. Like I said, I've worked at several other newspapers, and I would not have done this anywhere else with anyone else. I mean, my business, Randy and Ken, but also our communities, like Randy was saying, they're just awesome. And they wanted us to come back. It's like that's all we kept hearing. Like I said, no matter how much online stuff, it's like, when are you coming back in print? It's like, if it wasn't in print, it didn't happen. So it's like, so we're just so grateful that we have.
I gotta beg you, don't hold back. Tell us more passion. Give us a little bit of, I'm kidding. No, I love what you're saying, because what you're doing is you're reiterating what I've always screamed, is that you're staying in your lane. You're not, you get it. It's not the fact that you're print versus digital. The fact is you're providing in that print product the content that they're craving. Although you did say when you were doing it online, you weren't getting the same oomph.
No.
Holding that thing in their hand. And it's not a bunch of old people who are dying, right? You got millennials holding this too, yep. God forbid, generation, whatever, XZ, RQ.
Yeah.
I mean, you got them. All right. And God forbid, when he said sarcastically, when COVID finally, we get on the back end of this thing, which we hope is 6-8 months from now, whenever everybody's, that herd, whatever, you'll pick up those restaurants, right? You'll get those bars, you'll get those places and beers where people are craving to get out again. And that's business just pent up waiting for you, I assume, right? Especially because that's what people are craving right now. Get out, be part of the world.
That was our decision, or that was part of the decision when we shut down in March. And there's other newspapers around here, the Riverfront Times, they're event-driven businesses. And once all the events went out, once the restaurants closed, they were out.
If you're living on it, you would die by it, but that's not you. You got it all.
And a few of us here at the time before we closed down, I was talking to a sales lady, Peg Most, and we were talking about the restaurants. And it's like, well, okay, they can do carry out still though. So they're not closed. What can we do? And she went out immediately and got a full page ad for the last 2 of our issues. And they still advertise with us for a Village Bar restaurant. And they advertised their carry out. They were the first people, that were like, advertise, carry out, come and see us. And, more and more people started doing that. But we still closed down, so there was nothing we could have done. But we knew that coming back into it, that there's more that we can offer the communities, even if they're closed. And even if they have limited capacity or limited hours, we can still help them out.
So it's okay, go ahead. And we got color in this thing too, right? I mean, we're not black and white. We're giving them a good experience.
All color.
All color. And to Randy's point, yes, that's our Christmas issue. That's the one we just put to bed yesterday. But to Randy's point too, about like the restaurants, advertising their carry out, our sales reps recently, so when we came back then to the relaunch and stuff, I know recently, Randy, I really loved the thing that our sales team put together, that like the special advertising section package about and all the little shops and restaurants that were doing carry out or curbside delivery, or order online, or shop Christmas online and then come pick up your stuff. And same thing with the restaurants that were doing curbside and stuff. So, again, it's like we're also trying to, yes, we're trying to support the businesses who are supporting us, again, because it's like none of us survive without each other. And that's even more clear now.
How are you getting along how are you getting along with the Chamber of Commerce and those kinds of things?
I'm sorry, I had a phone call. I couldn't hear what you said.
That's okay. You can ignore me for a while. You want us to hum and dance while you're taking the call? No, I'm kidding. How are you getting along with the local chamber, the business community? Are you covering those events? Are you doing,
Yeah, we're doing that. I've just spoke to most of them because we had to renew our fees for the next year. We did a golf tournament. We the Kirkwood and Webster areas combined and did a annual golf tournament. And so we sponsored a hole on that. We do a marshmallow hole where they hit a marshmallow and furthest one wins a prize. And so we're involved with the chambers, and only to be more involved, really.
All right, good. I just love.
See, there was our curbside delivery thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's big too, where you're actually promoting the way people can get their food
Yes.
in a COVID world. All right, so we got to get back to, you know, helping everybody understand how you guys saved this newspaper. So Dwight comes to you. Okay, give me the story. What's the timeline? When did you find out that you were for sale, Randy?
I found out basically the Friday before Easter. I'm not sure exactly when the date was, but since I had approached him before we closed down, he approached me to see if I would be interested in purchasing the paper, because he had informed me then that he had a broker. And so I immediately started looking into, well, can I do this and what can I do? And it got so big for me, and I knew all the work that I would have to do, that I just pretty much tabled it. The more it looked like we weren't going to be opening up in 2 months, with the more things that happened, I had to table it. He sent out a letter in June to all the employees. And that's when the employees started talking together amongst ourselves about potentially grouping together and purchasing it.
Were there any buyers walking through there checking it out, to your knowledge? Where there's no nibbles?
Nobody walking through there. I did. I gave access to somebody to our Google Analytics that was considering purchasing it, and there were offers for the paper, and even down to the wire when we put in our offer, there was a couple other offers coming in at the same time on the table. So it was slow going, but once the word got out there, there were a few people interested in it.
So you were actually in a bidding war against other potential buyers. It wasn't as if...
I don't know if I'd go that crazy with it. That sounds a lot cooler than it really was.
All right.
It sounds way cooler and less stressful than, than it was. And, you know, and keep in mind, like when Randy's talking about in April, you know, you were having these interactions with Dwight, like no one, like I wasn't privy to any of that. I had no idea, because Melissa and I are just going gangbusters on the website. I had my head down. I was like, proceed, like, you know, as much as normal as possible. And then we're going to get this thing, you know, I just assumed that, you know, Dwight was, you know, and Don were going to be able to open back up. And then, like Randy said, in June, Dwight and Don sent the formal letter and said, you know, he outlined 3 options. One of them was, you know, somebody on the outside would come out, you know, could purchase the paper, or, you know, and another option was a group of employees, you know, an employee or a group of employees would come, you know, could come forward to purchase it if they were interested. And the last one was just, he was going to have to, you know, shut down, close the doors altogether. And so then that is like the moment where I was like, and, you know, and Dwight approached me and I was like, oh my God, well, I would love to, you know, help keep this paper going and everything. But obviously, like, I can't, I was the same as Randy, as I was like, I can't take that on by myself. My God, that's, you know, whatever. But then, you know, Dwight and Don said, well, you know, maybe you should talk to, the employees started talking, like I said, and then eventually the right group came together, and I called Randy.
Let's discuss that. What is the right group, and how did you get the money together? And Randy, can you discuss, or Jamie, can you discuss a little bit about the deal points? Who did the financing?
Well,
Come on.
No, we're not talking any money points, but basically, like.
Well, where'd the money come from? Am I allowed to ask that? Did you get what?
Us, each of us had money that we could put in to get it going.
Did you cover every dollar of the fee, or did he give you a little, you know, padding where you can pay it off in time? Am I allowed to ask that question?
I don't know. Let me check with my lawyer.
Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah. All right, so we're not going to know that. We're not going to know if he gave you a chance to put a down payment, and we're not going to know any of the points on
all that matters is we're here.
Okay.
We did also get a small loan to help us get up and running as well.
All right, from someone local, I assume. The local bank? Okay.
Right.
So the 3 of you pledged a loan at least to get up and running.
Right.
Against your own personal world. Do you have a spouse, Randy?
I do.
Did your spouse think you were crazy, or was she behind it? Or he? No. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get too. Go ahead.
No.
Okay.
So no, we were. Interestingly enough, we had talked throughout the last 10 years. I had said, you know, I could see me running the paper one day. We had talked about this a few times, and then that's why when I said I went in with an opportunity on the other side, I had kind of had that in mind. I was like, because I know how this place runs. I know, you know, 80% of what needs to happen. And I also know the people that we need to make this thing happen, because we went from 23 employees and we're down to 9 right now.
All right. But you
And-
outsource some stuff, I'm assuming. You got some stringers?
We have 1 stringer.
What?
So you got
we
9
pretty
people
much-
doing everything?
Yes.
Who's doing your, do you have a graphic artist in there doing your layout and everything? Or do you
Oh, yeah,
outsource that?
I was the creative director before, and I had a couple coworkers, and I immediately knew that I needed to hire my coworker, Amanda, because she's the kind of person that can get things done efficiently and well with hardly any mistakes. And she's the kind of person that can do the job of 2 or 3 people. And I was like, if she doesn't come back, we're going to be in trouble, and this might not be able to happen.
All right. So she does the pagination, lays the thing out for you.
Right.
And
Well, I lay it all out. She does all the advertisements, she does
Okay.
flyers, and she uploads the files, finalizes them at the end, and things like that.
who's printing you? Where do you get it printed?
It's Breeze, Illinois. It's about, I want to say, roughly an hour away-ish.
Okay.
And it's the company that we've been using for all these years. So we stuck with them.
Yeah.
We tried to keep everybody that we had on board still on board. So
Excellent. Excellent. I noticed you're using Town News for your website. So
correct.
you already had that in place as well. All right. So we don't know the deal points. We know the 3 of you play, and the guy who's missing again, and his
Kent.
name is?
Kent.
And what is his function? He's a general manager, but what is he like doing?
He also does the Real World. He does a column on movie reviews.
Okay.
He's been doing that since I've been here for 20 years. And he also is the classified department.
Classified.
He is the classified department person. And he's also now started to go into the delivery area. Him and I have both been splitting delivery duties, as far as I've had to hire a couple carriers already. And he goes to the locker, every Thursday when the paper comes out.
How many times are you delivering that paper, Randy, on a Thursday?
I've only had to deliver it once, and only because the guy ran out of papers, and it was only 50 papers. So knock on wood, I've only had to do that. And that's really delivery and the carriers. That's our biggest thing that pops up that's like stresses you out.
How much insert business are you doing right now? Is that still a viable business for you?
We're doing some inserts. We kind of lost some because when we closed in March, we had a really healthy insert thing going on, but we're still getting some. And so we have some lined up for January already. And we just talked to one of the main people we do inserts with, and they're going to get on a contract with us. So we're still people know that our paper works and that it has worked. And so they're ready to send us their inserts and get back going.
That's amazing. How many sellers do you have on the street?
We actually have 3 sellers, 2 sales territories. One person handles one, and the other 2 is combined. They both work part-time for the other territory.
And again, there's no inside sales department. That's your partner. He's handling the classifieds.
No, that's the sales team. Those are salespeople that were here before that we've rehired.
Brought them back in. Okay, cool.
Yes.
That is amazing. That is just an incredible story. Jamie, what were you going to add? I'm sorry, I kept interrupting you.
I don't know. I'm just so excited. And you asked about how the right team came together, and Randy really hit on something with Amanda that I would just add is, like Randy was saying, okay, we knew that for this to work, like in his department, we needed him and Amanda. Okay. Like, because she can do the job of 2 or 3 people, and basically every single person that's here. So I have 2 people, we have 2 people in 2 other people in editorial department besides me. Kevin Murphy has been the managing editor for the Webster-Kirkwood Times. He's been with Don and Dwight since they started. So I was like, we can't do this without Kevin. The editorial department, we can't do this without Kevin, and then Melissa, our other reporter, because she and Kevin alone can do the jobs of, like, we're all doing like the jobs of, 2, 3, sometimes it feels like 4 or 5 people. And then, our sales reps, they were the best people that we had on our team, prior. And so it's like, we know we needed those, we knew we wanted them, and so I called it like our, and it still is, it's our WKT dream team, and before we, in us 3 signed on our dotted lines, we made sure that our dream team was assembled, and we were like, okay, now that we've got everybody, we can do this. You know what I mean? Like, with our dream team in place, we were like, okay, where do we sign? You know, and our employees are just, everybody is amazing. Just everybody that works with us, everybody in the community. Again, it's like, this all takes everybody to make it work.
Excuse the sarcasm here. So your biggest challenge is most probably employee morale, right? I mean, no one comes to work psyched. I'm kidding. I can just tell from the two of you.
And I'm also the designated cheerleader. If you can't tell.
But your team comes in every day knowing that they're working for something that matters. And that energy is flowing down from management to every single person. I'm assuming that the energy is just there. And that feeds on the street. I mean, you're full of ads, and one of the I always say, remember, I wrote a book on this, that sales is a transference of energy sometimes, right? There's a flow, and people can feel that excitement in a human being. If you believe, the customer believes. Does that make sense? I always say you can't act that out. Anybody that can sell something they don't believe in is a charlatan. It's a Willy Loman. It's someone I don't want to know. I mean,
right. You never know what you get.
But if you believe in it in your soul, and I can just feel that energy. So your salespeople are out there psyched, right? The story is out there. So what's the future? What are your plans now? Are you covering? If I ask questions that are out of bounds, are you covering the nut? Are you making some money? And what is your expansion mode? Are you going to hire some more? Are you going to do anything? What are you thinking of? Can I ask?
Sure. Well, on the first part, it's funny because I got an email from editor and publisher this morning with a story called "Truly Local Content Drives Audiences."
Yep, that's
and I read through that, and I was like, okay, so he's basically describing how local newspapers used to be.
Unfortunately, yes.
It's nothing new. It's like our minds have been erased. When the internet came out, all of our minds kind of just got hazy and forgot everything that we used to do, and I think slowly this is going to be coming back, and I thank the pandemic for that. People are given a new appreciation for their actual life and finding the differential between their online world and the real world. And a lot of people are finding the value of the real world. There's more to gain and makes you feel better than just the online world does. People are kind of waking up to that.
You're realizing that it doesn't matter how you distribute the content. You're just getting that content out there. And
but it does matter. It does matter because,
I meant digital versus print. I wasn't considering.
Well, no, and that's the thing where digital is more of a one-person self-serving kind of device, and no matter what you do, banner ads don't really work all that well. They sneak ads in that look like they're news articles, but they're not. I mean, this is for 10, 15 years now, and nothing seems to really be working as well as the print did. And if you're in a community like ours where it's actually working and it's working for those businesses, they appreciate us, we appreciate them, the community appreciates the whole group, and we form a big community, which is what we want and what we're driving for.
You just said something I got to dive into. You just said, and then they sneak articles in that really are ads. I'm paraphrasing what you kind of said. You're discussing that term that has 50 different names to it. Some call it sponsored content, branded content, native advertising. God forbid you use the word advertorial like me, the old guy that used to. You're not into that. You're not, even though Gordon Burrell is screaming, everybody wants to tell a story now, and Facebook's throwing a lot of money. Excuse me, one of my shelves just dropped here. This is a very interesting interview, and I'm not going to edit it out. We're going to just go, here you go. I'll just throw this stuff in the air. Let's go. Okay. Anyway, you're not, what I'm saying is now that Facebook's throwing money at the industry saying, let's get some branded content out there. That's not your lane. You guys aren't selling sponsored content.
I'm open to various things, and we've been doing everything the whole time. The internet has been about. We had our own, when Groupon came out, we did a thing called Times Clip where we partnered with some people. We had our own coupon site. Did you use Second Street, which happens to be in your town, to do that, or did you hope and grow that? No.
Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. We did a Times app for sports.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've done various things, and it's all just one of those, you know, you suck as much out of it as you can before it goes away, because it's going away, and it always does.
So no bells and whistles here. No, let's try this cute little trick here or thing?
No, I mean, we've been doing it for 20 years, and I've been following. I mean, I've been on computers since I was 10, so I'm 50 now. I've always loved technology, but I don't like the internet. What's become of it? It's a shame what's happened to it, really, and I'm almost embarrassed sometimes to say I was a part of it. But I've been studying the internet for so long. I've been studying it and seeing things just come and go and watching news decline online. It's like clockwork. I can tell you pinpoint the moments. This is when people went from using technology as a tool to now being used by technology and being led around. And it's all there. It's plain and simple. And so our goal is to continue.
Here's the breakout quote, my friend, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Our goal is to do what newspapers are supposed to do, and especially local newspapers. And it is about our community. And we will continue to do the things that we've always done that make us great, that make people want us, that make people want us to come back, because that's what people want and that's what works. If you can get enough people around that idea of a community like that, then you're going to be successful and your community is going to be successful.
Your ads are very pretty too and attractive. So I'm assuming that your ads are content that people are craving too. You don't look at your ad. I mean, you must keep a sharp eye on your ads, not put anything in there that's going to detract from the overall feel or the texture, right?
And our creative director, Amanda, is an excellent graphic designer. And she's the large part of that. You know, most of our ads come in and she designs them and sets them up and she makes them look great. And that's part of the thing too. It's like when you talk about native advertising, we don't feel like we need to sneak things in, which it's a little different nowadays than it was in the beginning when it was more like they were sneaking stuff in. Now, at least you can read advertorial or you can read sponsor content. For a while there, it was a little iffy and it was just like, click on this link. And then the next thing you know, you're somewhere else.
You know, it's a little tiny sponsored content sometimes.
Well, you know, it's true. It's true.
Maybe a little grayed background behind it, but it's still content. No, I'm not against it. I'm not trying to take a stance here. I'm just saying that you're not going down that road.
We've done it, and it just hasn't been that fruitful.
So, Jamie, when you get a press release, it's a press release, right? I mean, that's how it's treated, correct?
Yes, of course. You know, and what we do is, you know, if a press release comes in and we want to do that, then, you know, I'm like, oh, this is a great story. Then, you know, we will get in contact with who we need to contact to actually do a story.
And you might give the press release to the sales rep to follow up as well, correct? To go maybe.
Sure. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And then you have it as advertising, as an ad that is placed in.
Yes.
Look, I don't want to go on. This is great. Can a human being get your publication by mail? If some other's operation out there wants to start seeing that news, well, first of all, they can see it online, right? There's a replica version online for free. What is the website again? It's timesnewspapers.com, correct?
Correct. Or Webster-Kirkwood Times.com, either one.
Okay, but if they want to get a mailed version of it, because sometimes you just want to hold that in your hand, do you offer that? Can someone subscribe and get it by the mail? Will they find that on your website as well?
It's on our website, yes. You could go online and do that right now. I'll wait.
That's right. We'll just be sitting here waiting.
Yeah, I know, but seriously, because I have a feeling some people are going to want to get your weekly edition in the mail, study it, and see what the magic is here that's making you guys grow. And is there any other future plan? Maybe anything else? Are you thinking of hiring more people, expanding? What's the dream?
Oh, we hope. That's the hope.
All right.
We'd like to get to the point to where we have enough people working to where one of us could take a vacation.
No, 1 day of vacation. Just one. Just 1 day. Each the three of us could have 1 day.
You know, it's so funny that when we connected, it was almost a month ago, and just trying to find a day I could get you guys on the phone or on Zoom for 40 minutes was hard.
Yes.
It wasn't like you were putting me off. You wanted to do this. You were just kept saying, we're busy. We're trying to find that time. And here we are. Well, I want to tell you how much I appreciated your time. Jamie, Randy, this publication rocks. Again, another example of how hyperlocal news can survive. And it's the Webster-Kirkwood Times. The company now is called WK Times LLC. Am I correct, sir? Is that
That's correct.
and you're locally owned by employee owned, I should say, or
Yes.
Employee owned.
and timesnewspapers.com. If someone wants to send you an email, Randy, is it on the website, or quickly give me your email address, Randy, if you don't mind.
They can just send it to Randy at timesnewspapers, all plural.com.
RANDY.
Correct.
Jamie, how do you spell Jamie?
Jaime.
And is that your email address, Jamie?
Oh, sorry, no. Actually, it's just J Mowers.
Okay, I got to change it. How do you spell
J Mowers.
Spell it out.
JMOWERS
There you
at
go.
timesnewspapers.com.
I'm sorry this was such a low energy interview and you guys had to be we had to get some energy out of it.
It was a late night last night. I'm just waking up.
Right, well, there you go. And go Cards, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Go Blues. Yeah. Go everything.
go
Yeah.
local news.
Go local news. Yeah.
and I know it's hard to find a good brew pub in St. Louis too, right? In a decent state.
Music. I don't know.
You guys live in a great part of the country. You're doing a great thing for the industry. Do me a favor, please, both of you, stay healthy.
Oh, thank you.
And
You too. We are so grateful. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for bringing us on.
Oh, no. And I know that once we're on the backside of this crisis, you guys are going to just flourish and grow. And I can't wait to, in fact, we're going to check back in with you and see how you're doing after all of this. Because I have a feeling you got another 10 or 12 or 15 pages coming of just of more support.
That was God. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, stay healthy, guys. Bye.